A controversy broke out on August 1st when Algerian boxer Imane Khelif faced Italian boxer Angela Carini at the 2024 Paris Olympics. The fight ended rather abruptly, actually within 46 seconds, when Carini suddenly withdrew, walked out of the contest, refusing to even shake Khelif's hands. Carini later cried in front of the media, telling them that she pulled out because Khelif's punches hurt too much. She later apologized for snubbing Khelif, saying that she was angry because her Olympics had gone up in smokes. But the damage was already done. The Italian boxer's reaction immediately triggered vitriolic attacks against Khelif and her body. People began to claim that Khelif was a transgender person, or even that she was a man pretending to be a woman at the Olympics. The attacks also extended to another boxer, Taiwan's Lin Yu-ting. In this episode of Let Me Explain, we look at why the allegations against Khelif and Yu-ting are baseless, and how this is fueled by misconceptions about the female body and racist ideals of femininity. From the time the News Minute began, we have been following issues about gender very seriously. You may actually be wondering why I'm doing an episode on an international issue. Because this is not just about international athletes. Our own women athletes have been subjected to such torture. And let me remind you that the reason why we have been able to focus on gender is because our readers demand more of it. They want to know more. And we can do more of this reporting only if you support us. So do become paid subscribers of the News Minute. If you're already one, then do contribute to our reporting fund. Now back to the story. Khelif was subjected to online abuse over misconceptions about her gender. The unfounded claims against Khelif were amplified by some notoriously transphobic figures such as writer J.K. Rowling, Tesla CEO Elon Musk, former US President Donald Trump, and the conservative Italian PM Giorgia Meloni. A lot of this misinformation was fueled by a statement released by the International Boxing Association, or IBA. The IBA had disqualified Khelif and Yu-ting from one of its events in 2023. Many had speculated that this expulsion was due to elevated testosterone levels in their body. The IBA's president at that time told the media, without naming anyone, that some athletes were expelled because it was proven that they had XY chromosomes typically associated with male bodies. The statement led to direct attacks on Khelif and Lin Yu-ting. After Lin Yu-ting defeated Bulgaria's Svetlana Steneva at the Olympics on August 4th, Steneva made a show of displaying an X symbol to the cameras with her fingers. This gesture was seen by many as a jab at Yu-ting, indicating that Steneva herself possessed XX chromosomes associated with female bodies. On July 31st, that is just a day before Khelif's fight against Carini, the IBA confirmed that the athletes did not undergo a testosterone examination. It instead said they were subjected to a separate and recognized test, but the specifics were kept confidential. According to the IBA, this test confirmed that both these athletes had competitive advantages over other female competitors. Now we need to first go back to basic science. Typically, males have XY chromosomes and females have XX chromosomes. It is important to mention at this point that some women can have a genetic makeup of XY chromosomes, but that does not mean that they are not women. But we'll delve into that point later. Now let's look at some of the claims made about Khelif and Yu-ting's bodies. While some people claim they are trans persons, others say they have intersex variations in their genetic makeup. So far, there has been zero evidence to back any of these claims. Both these athletes were assigned female at birth and they identify as women. In fact, in Algeria, where Khelif was born, it is illegal to be a trans person or to undergo any gender-affirming procedures. Then to the next question, did either of them have XY chromosomes or even elevated testosterone levels? Both of these are supposed to give them a biological advantage over other women athletes. The IBA has not publicly presented any proof to establish this. Even if the athletes did have XY chromosomes or even elevated testosterone levels, that wouldn't mean that they aren't women. Most of us know what testosterone is. It is the hormone responsible for the development of sex characteristics in male bodies. High levels of this hormone can typically produce changes including more muscle mass and stronger bones, and this is said to give men a competitive advantage in athletics and sports. But this testosterone is also present in female bodies who have XX chromosomes, however in smaller levels. These are important hormones for even women. The level of this hormone in a woman's body could also go higher when they have certain underlying medical conditions such as PCOS or thyroid issues. So basically, the bodies of cisgender women athletes with PCOS and other such medical conditions have been found to have a greater amount of muscle mass and even higher bone density than other women athletes. And let's not forget, Khelif and Yu-ting were cleared to contest the Olympics this year after the International Olympic Committee took over the screening process. Both athletes had also competed in the 2021 Olympics without an issue, and they even lost to multiple female opponents. But whenever they lost, no one pointed at competitive advantage. The IBA that expelled these two athletes in 2023 hasn't been recognized by the IOA since 2019 due to allegations of corruption and match fixing. The IOC has maintained that Khelif and Yu-ting were victims of a sudden decision by the IBA and they were disqualified without any due process. The IBA, led by Russian official Umar Kremlev, has also been accused of disqualifying Khelif only after she defeated a Russian boxer. Now let's complicate the matter a bit more. In 2018, the International Association of Athletics Federation had issued a set of regulations mandating that women runners whose bodies produce high levels of testosterone should take medication to lower the levels. Some of you may remember South African athlete Caster Semenya. Semenya, an Olympic gold medalist in the women's 800 meters that year, was stopped from competing due to this reason. Semenya later revealed that she took the medication for a period of time, but then stopped because it tortured her body. Many of these regulations placed on women athletes have been questioned by critics because of how arbitrary they are and the fact that there is very little scientific research to back them. Back in 1986, for example, athlete Maria Jose Martinez Petino was dismissed from the Spanish Olympic team because she was found to possess XY chromosomes instead of XX. It was also found that her body actually produced as much testosterone as a typical male body would. However, she also had a medical condition called complete androgen insensitivity syndrome. This basically prevented her body from responding properly to testosterone. Basically, her higher levels of testosterone did not give her any undue advantage over other women athletes. How exactly sex hormones and their receptors impact an athlete's body and their performance is an area of research that still remains largely unexplored. A study published in the International Sports Law Journal involving more than 1,000 women competing in track and field events showed that for up to 3 of the 11 running events, women with lower testosterone levels perform better than those with higher levels. So if the aim is to differentiate between men's and women's sports and thereby ensure fairness in general, existing research suggests that testosterone is a largely inconsistent variable. Every athlete, whether cisgender or transgender, has been observed to differ in their ability to perform. It can depend on nutrition, training, strength, and slight changes in their genes. One might even argue that these differences are what makes sports more exciting for sportspersons as well as their audience. Another factor to note here is how the idea of fairness itself plays out differently in men's sports. While women are shunned for not having conventional features, men are often celebrated for their differences. Look at swimmer Michael Phelps. His extra long wingspan has been glorified. Tennis legend Serena Williams instead has been subjected to constant scrutiny because her body does not adhere to traditional standards of femininity. But beyond the questions of gender and sex, race also plays a stark role in how women athletes are perceived. History shows that often it's women athletes of color who get accused of being men when they defeat white women. Serena Williams, Caster Semenya, whom we mentioned before, have both been subjected to such unfair stereotypes that paint black women as more masculine and intimidating. Why? India's own Duti Chand and Shanti Soundarajan have spoken about how they were forced to undergo sex tests Duty said that she found them mortifying. In most of these cases, the athletes were subjected to these tests simply because of the way they look. Some media reports at that time alleged that a person saw Shanti urinating and became suspicious. Duty, meanwhile, was supposed to have a physique that was masculine. As a journalist who has interacted with Shanti for many years, I can tell you how distressed she has been for all these years because of the allegations against her. But beyond these surface level assumptions and superficial judgments, biological sex is more than just about looks, and it is more complex than just chromosomes. So this is no excuse for bullying athletes who don't conform to expectations. That's all from me in this episode of Let Me Explain. I would suggest that you go back and read my colleague Azifa Fatima's articles on this issue, and do continue to read the News Minute because we write a lot on these topics. And remember, we are able to do all this because of the support of our readers and subscribers. So do become a paid subscriber. And if you're already a subscriber, then do go and contribute to a reporting fund. Thank you and keep watching.